You know, her and Selma.
think we should start. Diana was no ordinary person, and we remember her with great respect, and we'll have people speak about her, those closest to her, in a few moments. And we're going to do a different kind of evening service, a tribute to her. So let's turn to page 61 in your booklet. Now, I've got some up here because I know they were mean handing them out at the beginning. So if you don't have a booklet, here it is. And talking of booklets, we also, Michael decided to bring a few copies of her book, The Last Witness, extraordinary book. And somehow or other I missed out on it when it appeared. We must have been in Israel. And so I spent last night reading it. It is a marvellous, unforgettable story. So we have some, 2 or 3? Yeah, to hand out. So, page 61. In honour of Diana Kahn. We are assembled with our friends in the dark shadow that has fallen on their family. We raise our voices together in prayer to the source of life, asking for comfort and strength. We need light when gloom darkens our lives. To whom shall we look, if not to the Creator of light? We need strength and courage when pain and loss assail us. Where shall we find them, if not in the thought of the one who preserves all that is good from destruction? We are blessed if we have never yet passed through the trials and bereavements. Some present feel fresh wounds in their hearts, and therefore feel more keenly the kinship of sorrow, while others, whose days of mourning are more remote, still recall the comfort that sympathy brought to their sorrowing hearts. Our rational minds know that all things pass. Emotionally, though, it's hard to accept that all that lives must die. All that we prize is but lent to us, and the time comes when we must surrender it. We are all travellers on the same road that leads us to the same end. Eternal God of the spirits of all flesh, you are close to the hearts of the sorrowing, to strengthen and console them with the warmth of your love, the warmth of life, and with the assurance that the human spirit is endurable and indestructible. And so, even as we pray for perfect peace for those whose lives are ended, so do we ask you to give comfort and courage to the living. May the knowledge of your nearness be our strength. For God, for you are with us at all times, in joy and in sorrow, in light and in darkness, in life and in death. O God, healer of the broken-hearted and binder of their wounds, grant consolation to all those who mourn. Give them strength and courage in the time of their grief, and restore to them a sense of life's goodness. Fill them with reverence and love, that they may serve you with a whole heart, that all of us soon may have peace. Amen. Page 62. Adonai ma Adam v'tade'ehu, ben enosh u'techashvehu, Adam lehevel dama, yamav ketzel over, beboker yatzitz v'chalaf, la'erev yimalel v'yavesh. Tashe v'enosh ad daka, v'tom yeshuvu v'nei Adam. Lu hachmu yaskilu zot, יבינו לאחריתם. כי לא במותו ייקח הכל, לא ירד אחריו כבודו. שמור תם וראה ישר, כי אחרית לאיש שלום. פדה אדוני נפש עבדיו, ולא ישמו כל החוסים בו. O God, what are we? That you have regard for us. What are we that you are mindful of us? We are like a breath, and our days are as a passing shadow. We come and go like grass which in the morning shoots up, renewed, and in the evening fades and withers. You cause us to revert to dust, saying, "Return, O mortal creatures." Would that we were wise, that we understood where we were going. For when we die, we carry nothing away. Our glory does not accompany us. Mark the wholehearted, and behold the upright. They shall have peace. God, you redeem the soul of your servants, and none who trust in you shall be forsaken. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination. And life is a journey from childhood to maturity and youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion, and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength or strength to weakness, and often back again, from health to sickness, and back we pray to health again. From offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, and grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we understand that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Leida hi reshit. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination, but life is a journey from birth to death, to life everlasting. Mizmor David, Adonai ro'i lo echsar, b'notche sheya b'tzeni, al mei menuchot yinachaleni, nafshi yishovev, yadcheni b'mag letzedek למען shemo. Gam ki elech gavageit al vavet, lo ira ra, ki ata imadi, shivtecha u'mishanatecha, heme yinachamuni. Ta'aroch לפניי שולחן נגד זרועי, דשנת בשמן ראשי כוסי רוויה, אך טוב וחסד ירדפוני כל ימי חיי, ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. Let's read together the translation of Psalm 23. A psalm of David. With God as my shepherd, I shall not want. You make me lie down in green pastures. You lead me beside still waters. You restore my soul. You set me in circles of righteousness for the sake of your name. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and staff, they comfort me. You spread a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of God forevermore. And Psalm 121. I set my eyes up to the mountains. From where will my help come? My help will come from the Eternal One, the Maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your guardian will not slumber. See, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is your guardian, God your protection at your right hand. By day the sun will not strike you, and the moon by night. God will guard us from all harm. God will guard our lives. God will guard our going and our coming, now and forevermore. It's time to remember Diana as she was, and I'd ask the children, well, they're not quite children now, but Michael and Vivian come forward.
We never really thought that we would have to be standing in front of you. Till recently we thought she would live forever. So today we should not be mourning Diana's passing, but celebrating her life. This is what she wanted. The mother to Vivian and me, stepmother to Rachel, mother-in-law to Sharon and Harry, grandmother to Andrew, Lainey, Josh and Joey. Josh, we miss you if you're watching us from Amsterdam. You're with us at this time. Great-grandmother to Chloe, Ben, Seb and Lottie. Aunt to Martin, Debbie, David and Naomi. Godmother to Michael Schonfeld. And Nana Diana to friend and all. Tears swell in my eyes. My heart is heavy, knowing our mother has left. She brought and kept the family together. The last few months were very hard. She could not accept her loss of independence, nor the loss of her memory. She would struggle for names, and not remembering she could not walk. She wanted to go. She had had enough. I thought getting old was quite miserable. But after living with Diana, I think getting old can be fun. These words were from Chelsea Yoon, an international student studying Masters of Social Work at Monash University. She was accepted to become a home sharer, to live with an elderly woman and provide companionship and non-medical care. She lived with Diana, who was 95 at the time, for the last 2 years. In a recent interview, Diana spoke about her past. Here is a little excerpt.
I was born in Poland in February 1923, but because my mother had postnatal depression and was taken to hospital, I wasn't registered until the 21st of October. So, officially, I'm much younger than I really am. In Poland, my immediate friends were Catholics and we got on extremely well. But then we experienced terrible anti-Semitism. I was attacked once on a train. It was before Christmas, when the night falls very early. Someone called out, "There is a Jewess," and they attacked me. They were going to rape me, but there was one decent man among them and he saved my life. A few months later, we left for Australia. I was 14 and the year was 1938. We joined the rest of our family in Melbourne, some who had come from Palestine in the 1920s. I had already a reasonably good education from attending high school in Poland, but because I couldn't speak the language, I had to join a class with 7, 8 and 9-year-olds. On a Saturday, I would go to Taylor's College, and Mr. Taylor would give me private tuition. I would go to Taylor's College. Because I could master English, I developed a bit of a stammer. Mrs. Blackwell was an elocution teacher who taught me to speak slowly and helped me in my English. My uncle decided that I should learn dressmaking, so I became a junior in a factory in Flinders Lane. I learned cutting, design, and the factory work, and I studied fashion design at night. My husband came from Germany. He was interned on Kristallnacht. The Australian government allowed a number of German Jews who interned to come to Australia, and he arrived in 1939 with his parents. Prior to that, he was in Dachau, a concentration camp. He died young. I found out early in our marriage that he had a weakened heart. It was my children's idea to have someone come to live with me because I didn't want to move to a retirement apartment. Although I've got many numbers, in other words, I'm pretty old, I'm still very interested in everything. I love young people. I've worked with young people most of my life, and I have wonderful children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. I probably don't realise how old I am. Some old words from overseas, which describes Diana. These are some friends who have written about her and sent us messages. Hi, Michael. Our mothers tell us about Diana. We send to you and your family all our love. Thanks to Diana and thanks to you, me and Julia had one of the best and powerful experiences in our life. Diana was such a generous and strong woman. She gave us all of her love, and while we were in Australia, we felt as nieces of a big family. And this is what you are still for us, a big international family. We send a huge kiss also to Joey and Josh, and a big, big hug. Isotto and Julia Ravello.
Mum brought into our lives an acceptance of life. She was an extraordinary woman who made an impact in the world, but never boasted about her accomplishments, except I suppose for bridge, where she was most happy to discuss in detail how she would come first at the bridge club. Diana was always involved with charity and community. In the early days with Wizo Hadassim, and ended up being the longest serving committee member of the National Gallery. She had a love for art and social justice. She had time for everybody and anybody, and she was always there when needed, even flying to Israel at the end of the Six-Day War to bring comfort and supplies to troops in the Golan. In 1956, my father had a serious heart attack. She decided that she would need to become financially independent if the worst would happen. This was the birth of Cherry Lane. Started in our garage in Caulfield, it was to become, in time, one of the largest fashion houses in Australia.
Diana was our unsung hero of women's liberation. In the early 60s, when banks were resistant to lending money to women entrepreneurs and companies like Myers would not buy from women companies, my mother decided to throw a cocktail party for the buyers of Myers and the bank managers. She was soon in Myers, and the rest is history.
We all have shared many memories of her and have special moments. As I speak for me and my sister, we were most fortunate to have Diana as our mother. Now let me confess the woman that you didn't know. She would never remember how many people she would have invited for dinner, Shabbat or Hanukkah or to the farm. Our house was always full. Everybody was accepted. She was the constant traveller. From 1953 till a few years ago, she travelled the world, at least once, but mostly twice or three times. She would bring back interesting stories, and above all people, she was truly a woman of the world. When I was living in Los Angeles, she decided, and she would visit us every year, that she did not want to stay in hotels anymore, and decided that she would build a casita. And hence she paid for our garage to be converted into Casita Diana. She was a fabulous grandmother to our kids. Nothing was too much trouble, and expenses were irrelevant to her. Later on, she decided that she wanted to write a book, but having never completed English, so in her 80s she went to school to study matriculation, which she passed, and then she wrote the book, The Last Witness. She was, by all reports, one of the worst drivers in Melbourne. But if you asked her, she had never had an accident, even though her car had a standing appointment at the panel beaters every 6 months. She was fiercely independent to the last moment. She wanted to go home and told everybody that she could look after herself, cook, clean and of course drive, even though she had lost the ability. You loved life and she grabbed it with both hands. Today we celebrate your life and are instilled in us the values of family and friends. You were the true matriarch of our family. Diana, Auntie Diana, Nana, Diana, Mum, rest in peace. P.S. Please say hi to Dad. We know he was your inspiration.
Okay.
Joe.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, you finished? Right, okay, next one. And Joy, would you come forward and talk about your grandmother?
Yes.
See how that works. Make noise. That's all right. Just be loud.
Diana has many names: mother, aunt, sister, great aunt, and Nana. She was loved by all. My relationship with her was built primarily when she would visit us in the US and playing backgammon with her while eating sushi. Today at the cemetery, I looked around a few times and it amazed me to see the amount of people my Nana had touched. It is truly a testament to her ability to care, give, and be a loving human being. I never knew this until the other day, while overhearing my mum on the phone speaking to one of the family members, that my Nana had built up a friendship group, I'm assuming through her bridge group, in California while we were living there, and they wanted to spend exclusive time with her. However, she turned around and basically said, "I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to visit my grandchildren." It made me feel truly special. Before I move on to saying Josh's speech, I'd like to say a few words. My Nana has left behind an incredible legacy. She built an incredible family with many others. She had an ability to solve any dispute and keep the family together regardless of the issue. And who can forget her famous Hanukkah parties, which she may not have been able to do for the past couple of years, but it should remain a tradition on 23 Wednesday Road. My Nana was this is Josh's speech now. My Nana was one of the most fierce and compassionate people I know. It pains me that I cannot be here mourning, but most importantly, celebrating the amazing life of my grandmother. Diana was not only a glue to the whole family, she was a constant glue to the wider Melbourne community, constantly volunteering and supporting those in need. I thank my Nana for building in my dad the values that have now been bestowed upon my mum, Joey, and I. A zest for life, an unapologetic fierceness into the unknown, and a compassionate heart. It truly is a testament to Diana that everyone in this room could share at least a few words about her. We should all hope to be remembered like her and carry her legacy forward. Long life.
And now, our next speaker is David Miller. Adam. Michael skipped a generator.
That's right, thank you.
Big loud voice.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Harry Margaret. I met Diana 20 years ago. I met my beautiful wife. You don't meet Diana, you come into her aura. Diana was a powerful woman who, despite her ageing years and her infirm body, gave everyone who came within 20 centimetres of her enormous strength, character and spirit. Coming from Adelaide, I was a person who didn't know much about the Melbourne community, Diana took me under her wing and transformed me into a Melbourneite. And I was able to sit with her for hours and have amazing discussions. It didn't matter whether it was politics, Israel, human relationships, business, entrepreneurship. Diana had an explanation for everything. And to her credit, when I felt really down, she would always say, "There's not a bad thing to say about anything, Harry. Everything is fine." And always put a good slant on everything. I asked her once, "Do you fear anything? Is there anything that you fear with everything you've been through?" And with a wry smile on her face, she said, "Well, yes, there is one thing." I said, "What would that be?" "Oh, well," she says, "you know, I'm actually very fearful of getting shot by a jealous woman." So she would talk about the fact that she was always interested in the men in her life. And she was very interested in the men in her life. Notably, her son, Michael, David, who has been a strength of enormous character, and all of us know that David has invested much of his time and his love and personal energy into Diana, more than anyone could know. And David, you're an amazing man. But today the rabbi said something which will ring true in my heart forever. He said, Diana was Eshet Hayil. A woman of valour, and that's who she was. And to that end, if you'll bear with me, I just scribbled out something very personal for Diana, and I hope you won't mind if I try and read it with a steady voice. I know that Diana is not gone, she's here, so I know she's listening. Dear darling Diana, until we meet again, those special memories of you, if only I could have you back for just a little while, then we could sit and talk again, just like we used to do. You always meant so very much to me, and always will you do too. The fact that you are no longer here will cause me a lot of pain, but you are forever in my heart again until we meet again. Thank you.
Let's turn back in the book to page 67. Yes. Oh, right. Better come up, David. Yes, I do. Yep. That's all right. My return visits. That's it. That's what I wrote. It was the first. That's the last paragraph. Yep, sure. All this discussion is about the last paragraph in Diana's book. We will find it.
Okay. Sorry.
It's all right.
That's it. You've got it here.
Yeah.
That's fine. Sorry about that. Makes it easy. Well, Rabbi, I just want to say that I do recall conversations that Diana had about you, and she found you so warm and intelligent. And I don't mean to put you on the spot like this, but thank you.
You don't?
I didn't mean to put you on the spot like that. I'm
No,
just
that's
saying,
all right.
Thank you. I know, but you've got the book, that's fine. Thank you. I better start talking to you all. So, I guess... okay. That's
In the middle.
Thank you. In my childhood, I grew up with the Kahns, the Millers, the Taffs, the Mushins as a big part of my family life. Friday nights, weekend visits, holidays, and many a Seder. But if it was not for my Aunt Diana, I would not have the understanding of our rich family history together with my connection to a family. With my connection to family. To be truthful, my family connection and belonging that I enjoy today would have disappeared into a life of self-pity and loneliness. As her beloved brother Maury, my father, lay in hospital with only minutes to live, she promised him she would be there to take care of the twins. My sister Naomi and I were 2 years old at the time. And Diana, you were always there for me. Let me share with you all just some of those experiences. Well, I could be described as a gorgeous child that had turned into a wild teenager. My mum, Judy, reached out to Diana. What do we do with David? At the time, I was nearly 17 and I had all the answers. I'd just gone home from the Mount Scopus bus after completing first term Year 12 exams and enthusiastically told Mum that I had decided to leave school, but not to worry, all was fine, as I had organised with Beit Weitzman to go on a kibbutz program which was leaving in a few weeks. As always, Diana had a plan. She took me to live in a home at Hainton Place and put me to work in her business. My role, packing knitwear into cartons and labelling for deliveries. Well, it took less than 6 weeks before I could not wait to go back to school. And this was in the year below. This plan of hers resulted in a Bachelor of Business Marketing degree for which I am forever grateful. At the age of 23, I had secured my first full-time job at NCR selling computers and was wearing a double-breasted three-piece suit to work. I looked the part, and Diana had entrusted me to look after her home for 6 months whilst on an overseas holiday with her second husband, Heinz. Not one of her wisest decisions. Considering on one occasion, I hosted a dinner party on a cold Melbourne wintry weekend when I decided to burn the log sitting beside the sealed, closed-off fireplace. Oh, such smoke. Oh, such sparks on the Persian carpet. On her return, she was horrified that her priceless birchwood collectible piece of wood was missing that she had imported from a Scandinavian country on one of her many overseas trips. Only the black wooden stand remained. But rather than scolding me, her reaction, next time I would prefer you use my dining room chairs. I got the message. Travelling with Diana. Diana would tell others, the best thing about travelling with David is that he's so curious about everything. Well, travelling with Diana, how could you not be curious? You just never stop learning. Our first overseas trip together was to Poland. Not the easiest, but a special time for us as Diana met the twins, Naomi and I, at Warsaw Airport. We were now at the age of 33, and Diana took us on our family roots journey, showing us where our father Maury was born, where he went to school, and the many, many detailed stories of her life growing up with our father in Poland. My later trip to Europe with Diana in the late 90s was when I got to experience for the first time walking the streets of Italy, and through her I am having a beautiful appreciation of the history, the architecture, the arts, the many museums. We'd also stay with her friends in Tuscany and Rome. Now, the volcanic mud spa treatments that we went and visited, now that was something else. Being hosed down in the nude may have been problematic to me, but Diana had no issue with this. On to the Old City in Vienna, the Rembrandt exhibition. Diana taught me so much about this artist's revolutionary technique with light, and I also got to experience my first opera. Now, with over 10 years of opera season tickets experience, I'm still yet to fully appreciate this art, but I would never for one moment give up the experience of picking up Diana, driving to the art centre, having dinner together, always meeting with people or family like Deidre and Keith. She knew, and listening in detail to her knowledge of the epic story that was about to unfold. Even travelling with her grandson Andrew, we went back to Poland, or I went back to Poland again, and also Berlin was another unforgettable experience. On one occasion, she connected with a Polish lady in her mother tongue, speaking for over 4 hours as we travelled from Białystok to Warsaw. Then there were many trips to Israel together, visiting family. One of the early trips, I met one of her closest Israeli cousins, Shrolik, in a kibbutz in Haifa, whom she knew growing up in Poland. He was a freedom fighter in Palestine. Well, the newly Israel, I should say. And it was like being given a history lesson on the birth of Israel. Wherever you are with Diana, I felt you were being welcomed like royalty. And then, of course, we had local trips together, staying in Broad Beach at Harry and Vivian's, just hanging out and enjoying each other's company. Diana walked me down the aisle and would always say to my wife, Deborah, how happy she was that David found you, especially because you taught young children, as that would be perfect for handling David. She became Nana to my kids, not in some kind of tokenistic, half-measured way, but wholeheartedly and with full intention to our Asher, Eden and Estabella. She loved them, cared for them and worried about them and championed them. When they had special day at kinder, no matter how early the time or how unwell she felt, she was there. She imprinted on them long-lasting memories. I will never forget the time at the age of 5, Ashiki, as he was called by Diana, had an outburst in her home. Her answer? To take him calmly to the kitchen and teach him how to make jam sandwiches. On arriving home, he explained to us, I love Nana so much. She understands me. She was just so attentive to our kids. Eden, the maestro ballet dancer, Estabella, she called the beauty queen. She knew she would be a girl, just like her siblings, Sol and Maury, 2 boys and a girl. Dinah, she was into exercise and good food, which really rubbed off on me. In the 80s, jogging with a group around Como Park. In the 2000s, the legendary 6am Harold Holt swimming group. Not just exercise for her, but so many people, so many connections. And what a social calendar. Something I found so inspiring, but also I was envious of, and I'm 40 years younger. No matter how poorly her driving became, she would constantly drop into family and friends, often without notice, but always welcomed, many a time unannounced. She would not have it any other way. At my wife's grade 1 class at Shalom Aleichem, Diana became a regular unannounced visitor, and the kids loved her speaking, conversing in children's Yiddish, stories, songs, and her life stories. At my work, Diana would be a fixture, dropping in, and no matter what I was doing, it was time for either coffee or lunch. Many a time we grabbed an afternoon movie at our favourite palace, Como. Sorry, Natalie. We can all relate to Diana, to being with Diana in one of many of the following: hosting or visiting Friday night dinners, visiting sick friends, charities, those movie tickets, garden week, weekly bridge clubs, hosting bridge, hosting friends, concert night, opera night, Saturday morning breakfast club with Vera, Kim, Belinda and the crew, catching up on their events of the week, hosting the yearly Cup Day sweep, and so many others. And over 25 years of hosting the family Hanukkah party meant so much to her. She would say to us all, "When I'm gone, it'll be up to all of you to continue this." And what about the many shipping cruises? Her last was only 2 years ago. And you can imagine it was quite an ordeal having to get insurance. She was the ultimate people's person, always there with great stories, lessons and wisdom. But what is most amazing is how she could relate to all ages, all generations, an incredible circle of youthful friends she always had around her, many of whom are here tonight. Life lessons. The biggest for me, love of people. Nobody owes you anything. Slow down, David. And giving me appreciation of the arts. Here are a few more lessons. A Jewish home has rooms of elastic. Translation, always room for another person. Many a time you would attend a Diana function or home, or simply visit her, and just visit and meet so many new and fascinating people. Such a diverse circle of friends. When you stop cooking, you stop living. A huge part of her life was that she loved cooking and entertaining. It was her pride and joy having people together and around her. Don't listen or look closely at anyone. Otherwise, you won't talk to anyone. How true this is. If you are having one of those days that everything is annoying you, go look in the mirror. Something I have really worked on. I've become a lot calmer, understanding and patient of others. Still too raw to comprehend a life without Diana. I know you all had such wonderful times and experiences with her. I miss her so much already, a second mum to me. I know she had a long and most fulfilling life and taught me so many incredible life lessons, and for that I am eternally grateful. But right now, the thought of life without her overwhelms me with such pain. They say grief is the price you pay for love, and I loved her with all my heart and soul. She was a tangible living key to a father I never knew. A fiercely loyal confidant, an inspiring trailblazer, a ball of energy, always striving to make a difference to family and causes she cared about, and a constant source of love, protection, wisdom and guidance to me. A majestic matriarch to her beloved, precious family. She has connected her love with you all, and her greatest hope is that her family always stay close. To this day, I have never met a person with such a memory to be able to recall her life experience in such detail. As a gift to Diana, some 2 years ago, I organised a professional, a wonderful writer, Robert Hillman, who is with us tonight. He spent a special over 12 months with Diana, with over 40 meetings, and tabulated her life and career story for us to be able to share. We hope to edit and publish this book, The Chestnut Tree, within the next 12 months. I would like to now quote Diana from this book. A big feature of my personality is my enjoyment of people. I like them, mostly. Sure, they interest me. You know, there's an episode of Seinfeld in which Jerry says about people, they're the worst. But not for me. They talk, I listen. Not fascinating every time, but mostly yes. I have come to think of this enjoyment of other people as a gift. Something I did not engineer myself, but something given to me at birth by the cosmos. The companion gift is the good fortune I have benefited from all my life. I cannot imagine greater gifts. What does this relish of other people mean in concrete terms? I meet someone, I say hello, I ask questions, I listen. And as I listen, I think, this is a story. This is Tolstoy. This is Isaac Singer. This is Shalom Aleichem. I embrace the privilege I have been given of listening to these stories, of engaging with the speaker. And now I would like to also quote Diana talking about her brother, my father, Maury. My one champion in the family was Maury, who appreciated my cheerfulness and delight in life. It's important to have acceptance for who you are from at least one person near and dear. How history repeats itself. Because this is exactly how I felt about my darling Auntie Diana. May her dear soul rest in peace. And Rabbi, if you could read out that last paragraph from what you're reading if you want.
As David suggests, this last sentence belongs to her last testament. She writes, "Now in the last chapter of my life, I can say that I have never known boredom, nor has my passion for life ever deserted me. There's always been so much excitement around me. Life is beautiful. It must always be embraced." Back to the prayer book, page 67, a poem by a famous Israeli woman writer from the beginning of the 20th century. L'chol ish yesh shem, shnatan lo Elohim, v'natnu lo aviv v'imo. Bottom of the page. Each person has a name. We each have a name given by God and given by our father and mother. We each have a name given by our stature and smile and given by our attire. We each have a name given by the hills and given by the walls. We each have a name given by the stars and given by our friends. We each have a name given by our sins and given by our yearnings. We each have a name given by our enemies and given by love. We each have a name given by celebration and given by our work. We each have a name given by the seasons and given by our blindness. We each have a name, L'chol ish yesh shem, which each have a name given by the sea and given by our death. We stand up, we rise. We have a lot of material here. Somewhere is, it doesn't matter. El male rachamim, shochen b'muramim, hamtzei menucha nechona, tachat kanfei hashechina, im kedoshim u'tohurim, kezoha haraki amazhirim, et nishmat dina shahalcha l'olama. Baal harachamim, yastireha b'seta knafav l'olamim, v'yitro b'tzroch ha'chayim et nishmata, Adonai hu nachlata, v'tanuach b'shalom al mishkava, v'nomar Amen. Fully compassionate God on high, to our loved one Diana, who has entered eternity, grant clear and certain rest with you in the lofty heights of the sacred and pure, whose brightness shines like the very glow of heaven. Source of mercy, forever enfold her in the embrace of your wings. Secure her soul in eternity. O God, she is yours. May she rest in peace. And we say, Amen. And now we turn on in the prayer book to page 79. We remain standing. The light of life is a finite flame. Like the Shabbat candles, life is kindled. It burns, it glows, it is radiant with warmth and beauty. But soon it fades or is extinguished. Its substance is consumed, and it is no more. We read together. In light we see, in light we are seen. The flames dance and our lives are full. But as night follows day, the candle of our life burns down and gutters. There is an end to the flames. We see no more, and are no more seen. Yet we must not despair, for we are more than a memory, slowly fading into the darkness. With our lives, we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and death, of light and of life. And in gratitude for her life, we turn to page 84 and join in saying Kaddish together with the family. Page 84. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalmad ivrach erutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayachon v'yomechon, v'chayerachol beit Yisrael, v'agalav izman karim v'mru amen. Yahei shemei Rabbah mevorach, v'yalam al mel maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ah v'yitroman v'yaseh v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal shemei v'yisha b'rivu le'ela min kol v'chata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechmata la'amiran b'alma v'yuru Amen. Yehei shalom rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimuru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yibaru. Amen. Hamakom yenachem etchem. May God comfort you as the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. And we say, Amen. And I suggest you move down, say hello to the family.
show us something